Think we are finally live. It is great to be back. Hello and welcome. It is time for Formula Fridays here on ISRL Esports. It's the first race, it's the preseason here at the Russian Grand Prix, but nonetheless, I'm excited. I'm your host, Fallen Monkeys, joined in the commentator's booth once again by ISRL Estunik. How you doing today, Estunik? How you feeling about this Formula Fridays preseason race that we're just about to kick off here in just a few moments?
I'm pumped. Honestly, been looking forward to this since Brazil, and it's good to get back out on track. And I'm certain the boys are anxious to get out there as well. So, a little bit of a different flavor this season with Formula Fridays as we move to the multiplayer car. We move to a 25% race in the first race, as always, with a one shot. But the second race is where it gets different, as we'll just have a full reverse grid, and we'll have a 5-lap shootout for half points. So this season might not have your runaway champion as we saw last season with Sweet Crown absolutely dominating the championship. So plus we're streaming it now, so
yeah, we're streaming it. It's gonna be exciting. I mean, everyone can watch at home, and honestly, it'll be great to be able to watch it from the commentator's booth here for Formula Fridays. It always makes for some exciting races, at least from what I noticed. But I mean, of course, in my case, I was always at the back of the grid. So it'll be nice to see it. So, alright, so it looks like it's throwing me to ISRL Hartman for the onboard. So let's actually ride on board with Hartman as he's going to take us through the first lap here for the Russian Grand Prix in qualifying. So he's coming around turn 1 down into third gear. Normally where you like to take it, you could probably cut that corner a little bit more on the exit, and we saw there losing out in a lot of time. And just seeing over here, looks like we have ISRL Carter taking, or at least in a provisional pole in the early stages of the lap. But as Hartman has taken us through this qualifying lap, who are some drivers that those watching at home, maybe some new fans of ISRL, who should we be looking out for here in this Formula Fridays race, or at least in the I guess in the championship early on?
You got to look at Izzat, who made, other than Sweet Crown, because we're always talking Sweet Crown this, Sweet Crown that, but honestly, on Fridays, Izzat shows up. And he honestly, him, and I'd say Josh, who's unfortunately not here with us this week for the preseason race, him and Josh really take this seriously, and they love it. So look for these guys to be up towards the front, because Izzat's pace, we saw the short series earlier, the pace is coming to him, so different season.
Oh yeah, and we can see it already coming near the end of the lap. I am seeing it, looks like as if it is Izzat Kush actually taking pole position with that 1:30.307, and just like that, that's the end of short qualifying. Only 8 finishers, the rest having been disqualified, but let's take us through the grid to kick things off. As I said, Izzat Kush starting on pole for race 1 with ISRL Carter starting on the front row of the grid alongside him. Passassin _72 taking that third position with ISRL Mushroom coming in 4th. Jordan in 5th behind him, and that's followed by ISRL Joseph Cozy. Sophion in 7th with Monkey Mafia, the last of the finishing drivers. And as we're going through, I'm just going to make sure the stream gets the rest of the order. It looks like we have Chill Mo, Hartman, Pretzels, Knight, D-Tan, Dark, Stewart, and URC Rotation. Didn't quite finish a lap, but we'll be starting in that order for this first 25% race. So, I mean, I hope everyone's comfy. I hope everyone's ready to go, because just like that, we're jumping right into the race. Now, are we going to be having a little... Oh, look at this. Are we gonna have some weather coming into play here for the first race here in preseason? I'm actually not sure here in the commentator's booth. We'll find out soon enough. And it does look like blah blah blah. Oh my goodness! Even the commentators seem to need the preseason, or at least in my case, I need the preseason. As looks like Chill Mo is the first to ready up to kick things off. And just speaking of that. Yeah, I was just about to ask. Please, no,
the question on everybody's mind right now has got to be, who is Make Racing?
Oh, that's the question on my mind, actually. Now that you bring it up, I actually don't know who Make Racing is. Um, are you familiar at all, or are we?
None percent.
All
I've
right,
never
so
seen this man
maybe
before.
we have a tryout here for the first race of the preseason. Up to 5 red lights. Waiting, and just like that, we're off to kick the first race off for 13 laps here around the Russian Grand Prix. A solid start from Isaac Kush, but look at Carter going side by side with him there. Oh, and there's contact early on. What happened there? That's Joseph Cozy out of the race early on. Sophion facing the wrong way. Hartman falling behind with wing damage. Chill Mo without a front wing. Mushroom slowing down. Stewart way behind. It's all gone off here. I'm not too sure what happened there, but huge scenes here for the start of the race. And just like
You gotta
that,
think back to season 1. Jair and
yeah,
Fluffano.
that was actually, now that you mention it, that was eerily similar to that. And oh, not what you want for I guess we'll call it the debut here for Mike Racing on that I guess we can call it the debut, the tryout, before even finishing 2 corners, DNFing out of the race. I hope that was a crash out and not a retirement, but not what you like to see. But
Well,
looks
look
like
at this. Carter, P1.
look at that. So Carter up in the first, off that wonderful start as we saw, overtaking Isaac Kush and leading here at the end of lap 1. Isaac Kush, as I mentioned, in second, but probably going to be pushing very strong off the restart. As you mentioned, really takes this Formula Fridays race extremely seriously, and will definitely want to get the win, as it looks like everyone's going into the pits now.
Yeah, oh no. Carter has a drive-through, it said, for speeding under the safety
drive-through?
car
I'm seeing
in the pit limit.
Oh no.
Well, I did want to mention there are things happening on my screen at the bottom that I can't quite keep up with.
Yeah, because I just thought I saw a 5 second.
Oh, this is what I wanted to mention. The calamity that is Formula Fridays now is the fact that you have no idea who your teammate is when you go down to the pit. So you might think, all right, I'm going to pit from the lead. Or say, yeah, and then there's a guy that's sitting in third. He says, I'm going to pit with the leader. Turns out their teammates double stack, as we saw there. And especially after the first lap we had here with all that damage, oof, this could be good.
Oh, yeah, and we're already
down the order.
Yep,
Is that down to 11th?
Yep, and I think ISRL Mushroom potentially the worst off out of all of the pit stops. Already 14 seconds behind, I think, was an unfortunate victim of that double stack, as you were mentioning, as he's just coming out of the pits now. But thankfully for him, he's got the safety car, so he can catch up, and that might bring a bit of an advantage, putting the heat in the tires. But of course, through all those pit stops, we've got Pretzels now leading the way, followed by URC Rotation. So a couple of familiar faces, I guess we could say, up at the top of the order to kick things off. But now it's just a matter of how long is the safety car going to stay out for. Probably at least one more lap, but hopefully not much longer than that, as with only 13 laps here on this 25% race, there's not much time for error and for mistakes.
Joseph Cozy in the chat asking, who hit me? And we can say with 100% honesty, we don't know. It's the preseason. It's gonna take us a couple weeks to understand whose car is who, and especially when things happen so fast like that. From a commentator standpoint, we are not going to be able to tell immediately who is involved, unless we saw with Cozy being DNF'd. It's a big sore thumb showing who was out. But didn't rotation start in dead last?
I believe so. Let's actually take a look. I mean, rotation is going into the pits, but I'll see if I can get the data, the position change. It is indicating he was up 12 positions, but falling down the order now. So we'll have to see. I think he did start in last, or at least before last, as I think that Mike Racing potentially was the last starting driver due to the fact that he did not qualify.
Yep, same Pretzels has been kicked out of the session, so no good for looking like he's trying to replicate a wrong livery with that car. And unfortunately for Carter, who we saw briefly in the Hold on a second. ISRL D10. He has
Up in
15
the
seconds of penalties, but up in the podium positions, along with Hartman and then Carter. But Carter can't serve his drive-through as you can't serve drive-throughs under safety car. So once we go green, he's going to have to do a lap. He's going to have to make a decision within those 3 laps of when he wants to pit. And that's just might be done and dusted for his race.
Yeah,
but
potentially.
Yeah.
But at the same point, with that second race, with the full reverse grid and only 5 laps, even if he is stuck near the bottom of the order, starting from the top of the second race, as much as it is half points, I mean, it's still some points to earn towards the championship. And as much as it's preseason, to get yourself in that right mindset right from the get-go before the real thing does kick off is a great thing to do. But you're mentioning D10 up into third, yes, with the 15 seconds of time penalties, but a very solid start from up into third, and potentially a benefactor of everybody else making early pit stops right behind him.
Now, what I did want to mention for everybody, because it is a preseason race, just catch you up to speed. The reason why we wanted to do the 5-lapper for the second race was due to the fact that Formula Fridays has every tier. So we have our slowest, who by are no means slow, and our fastest all mixed together. Cream rises to the top with a 25% race in the second, as we saw double winners, which is an unbelievable feat in itself. But we wanted to create a 5-lap race where we're going to see people on the podium that we don't normally see. It's going to be a confidence booster and haul of points for the drivers. So it's an opportunity for everybody to really get involved and have results that can give that confidence level a boost.
Oh yeah, exactly, and I'm sure it'll definitely help out, because as you're mentioning, with the 225% races, we were finding some of the drivers with a bit more pace. Are we going green finally? It looks like we are going green, with Pretzels leading the way here, but I'm seeing Dark putting a lot of pressure right behind, as we can see here, going into turn 1. But we were seeing a lot of drivers like Izat Kush, like Sucrow 19, as it looks like there's maybe a little bit of contact. Oh no, right, Pretzels I think did disconnect. So it looks like everybody's...
D10 up into second.
Yeah, up into second. The benefactor of a potentially slower ISRL Pretzels car, who is ghosting on the circuit due to that disconnect. So we might see him fall down the order. I'm noticing Izat Kush looking to make a move up the order after that pit stop, setting a purple first sector on the first lap. We've got a lot of battles here going on, as I'm actually losing track with this preseason race, as and I don't even know who's who now. With I saw a driver going wide, but it's Dark leading the way behind D10, Hartman in third, Passassin in fourth. We're riding with Jordan as he's looking to put the pressure on Carter for that P5 here on lap 4. And as they're coming down this, I guess one of the longer straights of Russia, will he try to make a move down the inside? Thinks about it, but actually it looks like is that Izat Kush looking to make a lunge. Maybe a little bit of a switchback going down the inside. Let's right on board. And it looks like, oh, he just completely outbreaks Jordan and makes that move look easy going into the last few sectors.
Yeah, Carter serving that penalty.
Yep, we saw that
rather than later.
Yep, Carter serving the drive-through, as you mentioned. Looking to get that done soon so he can just put his head down. And did I see, was that a Ballard, a pylon, sorry, on the circuit, or was that a piece of front wing at the start-finish straight?
Might have been the pylon that's there at the end.
Potentially, and I'm seeing Hartman and Passassin battling it out very close to one another, with those very nice looking livery. And oh my goodness, was that Izat Kush just really working his way up the order, or was that Hartman that threw himself wide a little bit on the exit of turn 1, turn 2, going into that swooping left-hander there?
This is that absolutely chucking it. He's going. You can see he's driving with confidence. Just didn't even hesitate. Just flicked it up the inside of Hartman there. It's assassin.
Oh no, fighting. And let's go with the onboard. There's actually a little bit of contact. He's at Kush pushed wide a little bit, will lose some time, and they're 3 wide, and there's actually a little bit of contact, it looked like, between Hartman and D10. A little bit of wheel touch in there, nothing too crazy, but thankfully that didn't come into anything more serious, but we're seeing lots of battles early on. As I'm saying, the only problem I'm seeing is that I don't know whose car is who with these multiplayer cars.
Yeah, it's pretty much just I'm relying on the names, and you know, I hope these guys stick with the same one. But again, it's preseason. We could just discuss this after. But so far, it's just it's a trial run to get these guys. So I'm relying heavily on the scoreboard to point me in the
Oh
right
yeah,
direction
oh
here.
yeah. So am I, as I normally tend to do in terms of the gaps. But at least for the preseason, I'm going to try to give some screen time to everybody as I'm seeing Sophion looking to make a move down the outside of ISRL Knight, down this start-finish straight, going into turn 2, but they were approaching very quickly to the likes of Jordan. We saw Sophion going a little bit wide on that corner, so has to take the escape route, but still is able to make the move work on ISRL Knight, but Knight has the inside. So, but on the hard tires, just doesn't have that traction to Sophion. So Knight falling down into 8th and Sophion up into 7th as he's looking to work his way, but actually gets a little bit of tail spin, a little bit of tail wiggle, sorry. Hartman and D-Tan battling it out, and it looks like Hartman is able to get the overtake done. And speaking of the overtake, it looks like
Oh,
Jordan is... Oh my goodness! D-Tan struggles a little bit, and that's the end of his race. We got a nice little onboard view of that. There was a little bit of contact, not taking the corner the way he was hoping for, I don't think. And this is bringing out another full yellow flag. Is this
that
another
was
safety
heavy.
car, or is this a
It's virtual.
VSC? It's a virtual safety car. I'm not...
Holy moly.
Oh, I just don't have the indicator here, at least on my screen, so...
Yeah, what I think I'm saying in theory happened there was D-Tan caught in a position where he normally shouldn't be, which is towards the front battling, and he was trying to let everybody go, but there was a freight train of cars trying to go by in
Oh,
such a
yeah.
weird spot, and it didn't look like it worked out for him.
Yeah, and I think it might have been maybe a little bit of a mix of that, and as you were mentioning, as we're going back green now with the DRS finally being enabled, that wasn't necessarily a spot to overtake all that much. A lot of tight corners, the train of cars looking to come through as quick as possible, given the fact it's only a 25% race. So not too much time to lollygag if you're looking to work your way up the grid. So I feel as though we might see this reoccurring over the course of the entire season here on Formula Fridays, that we might see drivers looking to make some moves that they might not normally make on Sundays, just for the sake of really working their way and really pushing the car and working their way up the grid, as I've said, I feel now numerous times before. But let's hop with URC rotation. He's actually using the. Looks like he's using the ISRL livery that we like to rep for our league versus league races. It's looking. Not gonna lie, it's looking pretty fire if I do say so
Oh,
myself.
no.
Uh-oh, I heard an oh no.
Yeah, is that in his battle with Assassin takes a penalty. Now, I want to mention that Assassin and Izzat stopped early. Yeah, see here, Dark's going in the pits. He's got a 5-second penalty to serve in the pits, so... And these guys, everybody has stopped so far except for now would be Pretzels, so these guys are going to the end, so we're seeing battle on track for the lead.
Yeah, and we'll see where Dark will come out after serving that penalty. And just like that, we do see it on the screen now. Izat Kush up into the lead of this first race here in the Russian Grand Prix, with Passassin 72 following behind in second. But definitely keeping Izat Kush honest here in this stage of the race. So I think we're going to see these two drivers battling it out from now up until the end of the race. It's more just a matter of who's going to come out on top. Now, I do see Zat Kush does have a 3-second time penalty, as we can see on the screen now. So, in order to take the victory, Zat Kush is probably gonna have to push a little bit more than he likes. But of course, if you're Passassin, you just want to stay close to him, and of course, keep your race clean, and you've got the first win in the bag.
Yep, pretty much. Assassin, sorry, Izzat's gonna have to push, but like I said, these guys stopped. These guys are 5-lap old. I think it was. I could be wrong. Tire, yeah, 5-lap old mediums for both of them.
Yep. Now I'm just looking here at this other little, I guess I'll call it the gaggle of cars. It's Rotation, Sophion, and to the extent Jordan as well, that are all very close together, looking to battle it out for what seems to be the last podium paying position in this first race, as Izat Kush does set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on lap 9. And I feel like this race has just been flying by. I mean, it has, but we're already on lap 9 out of 13, so down to 4 laps to go of this first Grand Prix. It was that Sophion overtaking URC Rotation into turn 2 to go up into 3rd. Did I just see that on the screen? I think that is. Yep. But now still with nearly a 7-second gap to 2nd place. I feel that might be the most we'll see for Sophion, so you might want to focus more on the driver behind, because it's another situation of those 3-second time penalties potentially coming back to haunt you for the finishing come the finish of the race, as Rotation takes a funky line through the corner, goes a little bit wide, but doesn't quite get penalized for that, so he can continue on his way. But it does seem as though this battle between Sophion and Rotation is the closest battle on track, so this is the one I'm going to be keeping an eye out.
Jordan's in a perfect position. If they overdrive the car and take a penalty, Jordan's would be in a situation where he's the only one in that area of those group of cars without a penalty. So if Rotation can't get by Sophion and gets frustrated, then maybe he takes a penalty because we saw him go wide there, so he's obviously just pushing it. So Jordan could be on the podium at the end of this race.
Oh yeah, definitely could be. As you're mentioning, with the depending on if URC Rotation, he is really pushing pushing the track limits to the limits. At least from what I've noticed with the Rotation's lines here in this first race. But he's got 3 laps to go. Can he keep it clean is the first question, and can he catch up and overtake Sophion for that provisional P3? As I'm seeing fastest lap after fastest lap fall, and I think it's Dark now who is the provisional holder of the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. But hang on a minute, let me just quickly jump to ISRL Mushroom as he's putting the pressure on Stewart for that for the P6. Now, the overtake might not mean much in terms of the time penalties, as I'm seeing Mushroom has 9 seconds, Stewart has 6 seconds. But if he can get the overtake done and grow that gap, we might be able to see a nice little P6 for ISRL Mushroom. But time will tell with that.
Oh, Stewart takes another time penalty. So
oh, now they're even on time penalties. Ooh, so this is really going to make things interesting now with 3 laps to go.
Send it here.
Oh, yeah, let's actually ride with the onboard as he's going down the inside. Let's actually screw the onboard. Mushroom goes wide and actually hits the wall there. Now, I'm hoping to get it. Oh, he takes a little bit of end plate damage, too. That's not what he's hoping for. And he's got ISRL Pretzels right up in the back of him. And with that wing damage, he's going to have a loss of downforce, so might not be taking these corners as quick as he wants. And look at that. We're seeing Pretzels go... I thought I saw Pretzels going down the inside, but Pretzels actually going into the pits. Getting off the soft...
took a penalty.
Oh, look at that. He did take a penalty. So now...
Jordan's got to know this.
Yeah, so Jordan actually can just sit tight. He's got 3 seconds to the car behind, plus 9 seconds of penalties for the car behind of Stewart, and 3 seconds, or 2 seconds to the driver in front, but they both have 3-second time penalties. But I'm seeing now the gap is growing by almost, it feels like nearly a tenth of a second over the course of every sector nearly. So with blah blah blah. Oh my goodness, I'm struggling here today. Yeah, so yeah, he might not be out of the woods just yet on those medium tires, as he might need to push. And I'm seeing with the telemetry, he is pushing, using that overtake as much as he can. But I feel as though maybe Rotation is taking a bit of a better line. But now, down this back straight, with the help of DRS, will Rotation make an overtake going down the inside of a lunge? Takes it very nicely, and he is going to go up into 3rd, and Sophion is going to fall down into 4th. So maybe that's the overtake that Jordan needed. Maybe Sophion might get caught stuck behind Rotation, which might allow Jordan to close up the gap a little bit more. But I'm seeing both these drivers, Rotation and Sophion, battling it out here very close as it looks like they're about to start lap 12. But Izat Kush now running away with it, but Passasin keeping the gap to 2 seconds. So as it stands now, I think Passasin will take the win of the first race. But actually, Sophion...
frustrated with that.
Oh yeah, definitely getting frustrated with the pace that Passasin is showing. And early on in this preseason race, Passasin is showing he's got pace to compete with the big guns of Izat Kush here on Formula Fridays at the very least.
Jordan needs these two to stay battling.
Yep, and it looks like they are. Sophion did actually re-overtake URC rotation down the straight into turn 2, but all the while the gap to Jordan is continuing to grow. It's up to 2.7 seconds now. Here, I'll take a little bit of a break.
Start battling, yeah. These two start battling here. It's just Jordan giving it everything. 3% ERS though. You know, he's probably got that cranked up in the ridge. He's pushing.
Oh yeah, definitely pushing. As we can see, but URC rotation equally pushing, and Sophion, funny enough, out of all three of them, is in the best position in terms of overtake. But still only 40% of overtake that he has, as I'm seeing Chill Mo taking a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, and I believe that is his first, as we are starting the last lap. So things to keep an eye out on the last lap. Will Izat Kush be able to find 3/10, or will Passasin keep the gap just close enough to take the victory? Will Sophion take the P3, or will it be rotation, or will it be Jordan now? But the gap now is up to a little bit over 3 seconds, so maybe still a P4 in the ballpark for Jordan. But maybe I think the podium might be just out of reach. Now I'm just gonna quickly jump. I'm seeing Pretzels overtaking Carter. Is Carter going into the pits on the last lap? So I'm not too sure why Carter is opting to take a pit stop here, potentially having to serve...
Passasin's taking a penalty, and he's 3 seconds clear.
Oh
Izat is
no!
gonna win the race.
Look at that!
Look at Izat trolling, shaking his wheel because he knows he's outsmarted the youngster.
Yep, look at that. So Izat Kush, even with that penalty, keeping calm, as I'm seeing Stewart leaving the session. But he is still on track. So hopefully that was just a matter of connection and not just leaving after due to the fact that it is the last lap. Now, of course, it is something we'll be lenient here because it's preseason, I believe. Don't quote me on that, please, as Izat Kush crosses the line to take the victory here of race 1. But
I don't think that was intentional from Stewart.
Oh, and Passasin, he does cross the line, but has to reversing on track there for the win. But Passasin in second. Sophion looks like he is taking third. Rotation in fourth. Jordan is actually going to have a P5 with Stewart crossing in sixth, but Dark actually getting the overtake on penalties for sixth. So Stewart falls down to seventh. Mushroom up into eighth. So here's ISRL Knight going to cross the line next. Is ninth for the moment, but will Monkey Mafia close the gap enough? Yes, he does. So Monkey Mafia up into ninth. Knight falls down to 10th, and that's where he's going to finish by, oh my goodness, 1/100th of a second behind Monkey Mafia. So Monkey Mafia doing quite literally just enough to take that P9 away from ISRL Knight. But Pretzels coming in 11th, Chill Mo in 12th. And Hartman, after what looked to be a very fantastic early start of the race, crossing the line in 13th. And Carter, as I mentioned, after going into the pits, potentially having to serve a time penalty, is the last of the running cars to finish. But fret not if you are the likes of Carter, Hartman, and some of the other drivers who have finished the race down at the bottom of the grid. As we mentioned, we are going to have a reverse start of the 5-lap bonanza, I guess I'll call it, for race 2 here back at the Russian Grand Prix.
I'm going to call it right now. I think you saw it. You mentioned it live on stream. Why is Carter going into the pit on the last lap?
I'm not sure. Like, I'm thinking, did
Eric,
he?
I can tell you exactly why Carter is going into the pits on the last lap of the race is because he finished last of the running cars. You know where he's going to start for race 2?
P1.
He's going to
Was
start at
that
P1.
just? Was that a big brain move by ISRL Carter?
Well, here's the thing. It's only half points. You got to sacrifice full points in race 1 for, okay, you get half points in race 2. Maybe he's just trying to rub it in that he's got a win, but, you know, we'll see. Maybe he's testing some theories out for the actual season.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually a lot of some good thinking that I actually didn't really take into account. Now, I just want to make sure, for the sake of the order, are you keeping track of the screenshots
Yes.
in order to get the order?
I'm
Okay,
taking the
perfect.
pictures.
Perfect. Alrighty, so I've got the order here, at least for the sake of the stream of the first race. But I did take us through as the drivers were finishing, and now with the time hitting 0, we're just gonna quickly jump into the lobby, get the order ready for the start of the second race. Now, I'm gonna mention this now, for any drivers watching the stream here on Formula Fridays, do not forget your setups.
Yes.
Because you will have a bad time if you forget your setups.
Well, I guess some optimism to look into that is, well, it's only 5 laps.
Yeah. So it makes things... Oh, sorry, go on ahead.
No, I gotta ready up. What I want to say is, from experience with this format that I've raced in other leagues, the 5-lap race can be a bit frantic. Because say the guys that just, finished on the podium and high up in the first race, they want to kind of equal that result.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing, there's a lot of drivers on the grid, so there's going to be a lot of guys frantically fighting to get to the top. So look for patience to run out almost as quick as the lights do.
Oh, yeah. So that's definitely something I want to keep an eye out here for this 5-lap race, especially in preseason. What are the likes of Isaac Kush, CRL Passassin, Sophion, Rotation? I mean, of course, the top 5, but I mean, definitely the top 2 here that have shown they can just pick up the car, hit the gas, and go. They can just create that gap if they need to. How are they going to fare in this 5-lap race, having to overtake all this traffic and having to do it quick with just the with only 5 laps to work with? I guess we'll find out soon enough.
Well, what would you do, Eric? Put yourself in their shoes for a minute. Explain to me what you would do in their shoes if, say, you just finished second in the first race and you had to figure out how you would navigate this. What's your approach?
I mean, my approach, of course, if I have to start from the back of the grid and if I know I've got the pace, I would, especially around Russia specifically, as we know, turn 1, as much as it seems to cause issues for a lot of the drivers, it's not really much of a turn. So if you can just, right off the start, if you can get a good start, you're golden to overtake at least, I would think, 2-3 cars right off the start alone. And in the run into turn 2, you just want to make sure you've got the car positioned in that right line. And I don't like to use the term dive bomb because it's got that really bad connotation to it. But, especially in turn 1, if you're comfortable, you can chuck it in and potentially get a few other overtakes. If you're safe about it, of course. But I mean, I feel like that could be a potential strategy we're going to see. As I was mentioning in race 1, with not as much time as we've seen in the previous seasons, you're going to want to get a move on. So we might see some drivers making some overtakes where they won't, normally where we won't see it in these 50% races and even in the 225% races. Right, even the likes of in that last sector, the final, I guess we could say the final 3-4 corners, that normally we don't really see an overtake done through there, but already here in the preseason, we saw Isaac Kush, I think it was either Sophion or Rotation, right after the DRS, and in that sharp left-hander that normally go down in the second, you don't really see much of an overtake opportunity.
The way I'd approach it is, I actually don't have an answer. Maybe just take what the race gives you. I mean, if you had a good result in race 1, is it worth risking getting caught up in something for a 5-lap race worth half points, or you just kind of take what's given to you. You know, don't fight too hard, but don't obviously lay down, but just just get to the end of the race, and whatever happens in front of you, if you can escape it, evade it, get by it, avoid it, it's just avoid trouble essentially. Just take home some semblance of a race finish. Just take it easy, take the points.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely a good strategy, right? I mean, of course, if you've already got the full points, the full 40 points, or the 38 points that you've got for finishing the first race, maybe it might be better off, settling for a 10th, an 11th, a 9th, because exactly that, it is half points. So, not that they don't matter. Every point does matter, as we all know. But, I mean, in terms of settling for the 9th, a first and a 9th, full points and the half point, that's still a good haul of points for the weekend. And it's still
Absolutely.
much better than getting a first and a DNF, just because you're pushing it too much. But I'm seeing now, it looks like we do have the grid order set up and ready to go. I'm seeing the countdown now, down to 15 seconds. So, all these questions that we've been asking, I feel, are about to be answered very shortly here in about maybe 5 seconds plus a loading screen.
Yeah, and the drivers are not going to know what they're getting until they get to the grid. Is it rain? Is it light rain? Is it... Who knows?
Yeah, of course. I didn't even think... I mean, I didn't even cross my mind here in terms of the weather. So thank you for bringing that up. Of course, so are we running dynamic weather again this year for Formula Fridays? Perfect.
You gotta keep the drivers on the toes.
Oh, of course. Of course. It is, I mean, of course, it is Formula Fridays, but we still...
Day.
Oh, it's a beautiful day out in Russia here, out in Sochi.
Yep.
See, the stream is not as quick here. Oh, there we go. Yep, it is nice and sunny. A little bit of clouds in the sky. I mean, if you're a driver, perfect racing conditions. If you're watching at home here in the commentator's booth, hoping for maybe a little bit of weather action, not so much.
I think from the driver's point of view, after lap 1, guys like Cozy, they're gonna want to make it to the end here. And unfortunately, if you DNF, you still start at the back where you finished, and guys like Cozy are gonna want to. They're probably gonna be the ones to just really say, you know what has he got to lose?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and it is, if you're caught up in an incident like Cozy, it is really unfortunate that that you're being penalized that much more due to having been caught up in an incident. Like I said, if you're Cozy, if you're D10, but at the same time, I mean, it is what it is, as we're up to the 5 red lights, ready to kick things off for this 5-lap sprint, and we're off. As we've got Carter on pole, Hartman in second. A good start by Carter, not necessarily the start Hartman was hoping for. As the Chill Mo up into second now with the oh my goodness, with the start. Carter going into turn 2, and was that Mo thinking about making a lunge? Thinks better. I think that's Knight going a little bit wide, taking the exit corner. But coming back on track safely up into 4th. Mushroom in 5th, but I'm trying to keep an eye out here. Chill Mo still putting the pressure on Carter, but gonna have to watch up behind. And I'm seeing a little bit of action here at the back of the grid, so let's quickly take an eye out on that. D10 not having the start he was hoping for. Down in last, Cozy still working his way up the order, and Isaac Kush already up into 10th now. So really working his way up the order. So we'll have to keep an eye on him over the course of this race. Will he be able to make nearly a last to first in this preseason race with only 5 laps? Really pushing, yeah. But crucially, Passassin is ahead of him. So I think Passassin, oh no, actually no, it makes sense that Passassin is ahead, but for how long? As there's a little bit of contact. Oh my goodness!
Whoa!
A little bit of contact. Isaac Kuss, a slight bump on Passassin, which potentially made him miss the breaking point and caused a little bit of contact with Monkey Mafia.
Around the outside.
Oh my goodness, a nice little onboard of Monkey Mafia to see that move between Isaac Kush and Passassin. But as I said, drivers are getting a little bit angsty to get the moves done, work their way up the grid, And just like that, I mean, we're already seeing some instant. Oh my goodness, look at rotation. Mushroom and Knight, this 3-car battle as they're coming across turn 1. Are we going to see a 3 wide into turn 2 here? It doesn't look like that's going to happen as rotation is going to back out. But was that Mushroom going a little bit wide on the exit, getting a little bit of a tank slapper? But now we're going to be nearly 3 wide around this swooping left-hander. Visions of the F2 race, as we saw. Thankfully, we're coming out clean. And it looks like as if it's rotation in third, Knight in fourth, Mushroom. Oh my goodness, what happened here?
It's all apart here. Oh, unsafe. Oh, you watch out, folks.
No.
Jeepers creepers.
Oh my goodness.
What I saw in the background there was Chilmo got into the back of Mushroom. That kind of spun some around, but then rotation just lost it on corner exit. Knight lost it on corner exit. Everybody scattered about. We got through 1.5 laps without anybody spinning. There it was. Both drivers joining back on track. A little bit unsafe, but
yeah, thankfully, I think part of that was that they knew they had ghosted, so they felt they did have that safety of the ghosting. But I mean, of course, if you're watching at home looking to race, never trust the ghosting in this game because it can come back and bite you in the butts. Speaking out of experience, but as you were giving us a little bit of a rundown of the incident, I saw a nice little move by Monkey Mafia on Chill Mo with the help of that back DRS straight to go up into 5th. Now I'm seeing looks like Sophion was able to overtake Dark to go up into 9th, but it's still
is in 3rd place.
Yep, already up into 3rd. So Izad Kush, as we were talking about, he's got the pace. Making a run, and in 2 laps was able to basically do the last to 3rd. But crucially, oh my goodness, I'm seeing who was that? Was that Dark? I think struggling turn 2. It's been a problem through the entire evening here for Formula Fridays. And Dark is another victim of outbraking himself into turn 2 and having to go wide. But I'm looking, Joseph Cozy battling it out with Sophion here on track. They're very close to winning. Oh no, and who was that? Was that Dark? That took a spin. And Dark is falling down the order now. So calamity here for a couple drivers in lap 5. But as you said in the lobby here before we loaded up, 5-lap races tend to be very chaotic. And
you know what I didn't take into account when we were discussing whether or not we take the points? It's preseason. There's no points, so nobody cares. I'm presuming.
I mean, potentially that is the case, but I mean, of course, part of the preseason is to take this relatively serious, so you can get into that mindset for when the race starts. Ooh. And oh my goodness, who was that? Was that who's that spun around there? Was that D10? Yep, struggling in that in the last few corners, falling down the order and in the back of the grid as they're starting lap 5. But crucially, Izat Kush overtaking Pretzels to go up into 2nd, but now has a 3-second gap to close up the ISRL Carter. But now with 2 laps to go, will he have enough? Will he be able to have enough time to close that gap and really pull off that last to first? Or will Carter's big brain strategy of starting on first for the half-point race pay dividends for him with the first to the win here? We'll find out, but I want to jump back to Hartman as he's putting the pressure on ISRL Mushroom. It is for the wooden spoon here as they're battling for P12 and P13, but nonetheless, it is a battle on track, and they are very close to one another. I think Hartman is being patient, buying his time, potentially waiting for the help of DRS to get that overtake done. But we'll have to see here. I just noticed it looks like you can really cut that corner before the DRS straight. I didn't even realize that, but oh my gosh, I might have to put that into my practice.
Lord have mercy. Yeah, it's on strict. I made sure that we're on a strict. I just want to mention Carter has to make sure that what's going on. Oh, so
Hartman, I thought had a nice traction coming out of that turn to get the overtake on Mushroom, but put just a tiny little bit too much gas in the car and lost the back end, and unfortunately is falling down the order and is last of the running cars. But sorry, what were you saying there?
Oh yeah, Carter has to race this last lap as clean as possible. Struggled with penalties in the last race. We saw he had 9 seconds, so he has to go against what he's done in the past, because if he takes one penalty, Izzat's already brought that from the beginning of the lap.
Yeah, it's down to 1.5
seconds. He might get him to DRS range.
Potentially. Oh, no! Oh, no! So that was Joseph Cozy and Monkey Mafia. I think Joseph Cozy looked to make a lunge down the inside. There was a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, and fortunately for Joseph Cozy, once again got the short end of the stick of that incident, and he falls down the order as well. I feel like everybody I'm riding on board with is getting caught up in incidents, so I'm going to avoid the onboard for the rest of the race, but I'm going to jump here to the leaders. Will Izzat Kush close the gap enough on Carter? I feel with these, with about 4 corners to go, it might be too little, too late, as Carter was able to, I think Carter is going to be able to bring this home. But still, with 2 laps to go, you never know what could happen. This last corner can be tricky if you're not careful. But no, Carter does take the car. Izzat Kush crosses the line in style for P2. Pretzels comes in P3. And Jordan actually gets that last podium position on penalties, as Passassin is only in 5th for the second race. Sophion in 6th. Rotation in 7th. And Knight in 8th, as he's bringing a front wing with him as he crosses the line. I think that might be Izzat Kush's front wing. Monkey Mafia in 9th. Sorry, as Knight crosses in 8th. Mushroom rounds out the top 10 with Chill Mo in 11th. Right up behind with them. Look at that, the gap. 0.420. The gap from between Chill Mo to the car ahead. Nice little I thought that was a little bit funny there for the gap. If you know anything about ISRL Mo, I'ma just leave it at that there.
Pretty chill.
Oh yeah, pretty chill indeed. I do have to say. Some might say he's one of the potentially the chillest of Mo's. And yeah, what kind of outfit is that?
Coming at is that Rich Energy Carter?
Now, something I do have to say, I think ISRL X would be very happy seeing this podium with no Michael Schumachers on the podium. But
what a podium for Izzat Kush.
Yeah, definitely.
I literally just said, tried to break the mold. And Izzat said, no.
No.
Oh, look, this is double Scottish podium.
Look at that. Yeah, so Carter takes the win of the second race with the Izzat Kush coming in 2nd. Jordan in 3rd, Pretzels in 4th. Passassin rounds out the top 5. Sophion here in 6th. Rotation in 7th. Knight in 8th. Monkey Mafia in 9th. Mushroom rounds out the top 10. Chill Mo crosses line in 11th. D10, after getting caught up in the incident, still pulls out a P12 for his effort, with Dark in 13th, and Joseph Cozy getting caught up in that incident late, coming in 14th. Hartman is the last of the running cars in P15. But any last closing remarks here before we round off the stream here for this preseason event?
I know that we normally do just your run-of-the-mill great racing in Tier 2, but I honestly look forward to this now every Friday. I had a feeling it was just going to be fun to watch just because me and you both raced in it, and we could tell what it could be and what we could bring for people to see. And a lot of people, I don't know, maybe wanted to watch it, but this is going to be fun to commentate as well because it's going to be completely different than what we're used to. So you could just break the mold of what racing is and how points work, and I'm excited. Look,
yeah.
Izzat Passassin, but then again, we didn't have some guys out there. We missed Callis today, Josh, who would be at the front, Sweet Crown, and look at that, reserving Jordan, bringing home a podium. So
yeah, so solid. Yeah, solid showings here in preseason, and I do have to say, I was always excited for Fridays, not just because it was the weekend, but because exactly what you were saying. Formula Fridays on Friday. It was fantastic to race, but now here in the commentator's booth, I mean, I was at level, 100% excitement in for season 3, but now my excitement's up to 110, 120% here for calming Formula Fridays here in season 4. But I think that'll do it here for the preseason event for Formula Fridays. Thank you everyone for tuning into the stream. But make sure to tune in same time, same place next Friday for the first real race of the season, and it'll be around I believe the Austrian Grand Prix, if I recall correctly. But I mean, of course, we're going to have preseason races around Russia this weekend as well, so make sure to tune into ISRL on Sunday for our Division 3, Division 2, and Division 1 preseason races at 11, 1, and 3 p.m. Eastern Time, respectively. But as I said, that'll do it here for us for Formula Fridays. And until next week, I've been Fallen Monkeys on behalf of ISRL Sunic. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you in about a week from now.